For decades, we studied the sky, not only in search of planets and distant stars, but also to find strange, inexplicable anomalies that refuse to obey the rules. The James Webb Space Telescope was created for this purpose, to break through the noise of the universe and show us what is hidden in the dark. But nothing could prepare us for what it just saw. It all began with a routine observation of the Tri-1 Atlas, the third registered interstellar object to visit our solar system. Scientists witnessed something they should not have seen. Not reflected sunlight, not cosmic dust scattering photons, but artificial light, a glow so precise and controlled that it seemed to emanate from within the object itself. At that moment, a simple observation turned into one of the most alarming astronomical discoveries of our time. The 3-1 Atlas was first noticed as a faint, lonely dot at the edge of the solar system. Its trajectory, unlike anything found in our near-Earth space, did not originate from here. It crossed the abyss between stars, cast into our vicinity by some unknown event, and now drifted closer, like a silent messenger. The scientists expected to see another Oumuamua, a strange stone tumbling through space. But even in the earliest images, something was off. The object was too bright for its supposed size. Its brightness did not match physical measurements or composition, and what was even stranger, this brightness never flickered, dimmed, or flared like comets usually do when they eject gas and dust. It was not a frozen stone. Its light remained ominously constant, as if it did not reflect sunlight, but glowed with its own light. Telescopes around the world turned to him. Ultimately, James Webb, humanity's most advanced eye in the sky, was appointed to unveil its mystery. Suspended a million miles from Earth at the Lagrange point, Webb was designed to see the invisible. His tools analyzed not only light, but also heat. They shocked the scientific community. The object not only reflected sunlight, it emitted its own thermal signal, focused and emanating from its core. Natural objects do not behave this way. A comet shines because sunlight reflects off its icy surface, but this object glowed like a machine that was turned on. A full map of the object revealed something even more disturbing. The heat was distributed unevenly. It pulsed weakly and irregularly, almost like a heartbeat. This pulse was not random. It cyclically repeated at thin intervals, suggesting it might not just be geology. It could be technology. Research began to arrive from NASA, the European Space Agency, and leading astrophysical institutes. Could this be radioactive decay of exotic elements, subsurface friction caused by its journey, the presence of alien isotopes unknown to science? One after another, these theories failed under the weight of data. What remained was something no one wanted to record. 3 objects named Atlas might not be a natural phenomenon. Their trajectory was too precise, the rotation too stable, and the absence of a comet tail seemed intentional, as if something was protecting them from solar radiation. But the most alarming discovery was that their reflectivity, or albedo, was almost perfect in some areas. It did not resemble ice or dust, but rather reminded one of polished metal. It was not just a stone. It was something structured, designed, created. But perhaps the most compelling evidence was the light itself. Photometric analysis revealed that Atlas not only reflected light like a natural object, but emitted it in a narrow, controlled range of wavelengths, similar to how we design LEDs and lasers for communication. Even more troubling was that this light spectrum contained frequencies used in our own communication and navigation systems. And when solar radiation changed, the light from Atlas also changed in response. It seemed that some onboard system was adjusting it intentionally. It did not flicker randomly. It pulsed in a rhythm barely perceptible to human perception. Some astronomers suggested it might be transmitting messages. Others whispered of an even darker idea, that it could be listening. At first, the data received from 3 atlases appeared chaotic. A veil of electromagnetic radiation smeared across the spectrum. It was the very cosmic background noise that every radio telescope in history had ever detected. Random bursts, static white noise. But scientists had learned an important lesson over decades of observing in the dark. The universe does not expend energy without reason. Therefore, groups of researchers continued to dig deeper. They filtered the signal, comparing it with known natural sources of electromagnetic activity. Pulsars, quasars, cosmic ray bursts, even the cosmic microwave background. And still the data did not match. There was something too orderly about them, so they delved deeper. Researchers from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and Harvard began applying Fourier transforms, mathematical tools designed to decompose a signal into its periodic components. If there was a pattern hidden in the static noise, This should reveal it. And it was then that the ordinary noise shattered like a wall, behind which a secret door was hidden. Beneath the apparent randomness lay a repeating impulse. But it was not the rhythm emitted by a natural object, not the slow, steady heartbeat of a pulsar, or the fading roar of a black hole's accretion disk, but something much more purposeful. The intervals were precise, repeating with almost perfect periodicity. With enough variety to avoid a purely mechanical nature, it was structured, almost elegantly, as if someone wove a whisper into the noise, hiding meaning in chaos. It was not random radiation, it was a signal. The scientific community quickly split into two factions. Some called it a beacon, a cosmic beacon scanning space, waiting for someone to notice it. Others hypothesized that this message was not meant for us at all. The Atlas of Three Eyes was constantly connected to a data stream, a kind of interstellar telemetry, sending information back to its source. What worried people the most was not just the presence of the signal, but its constancy. From the first day James Webb recorded it, the pulsation had not changed once, neither in frequency, amplitude, nor rhythm. This implied intention. If it were a natural phenomenon, the signal would have evolved over time. Radiation would have caused its weakening. His signal was supposed to drift or weaken as it moved through the solar system, but instead, it remained stable, as if it was created just for this. Then a more alarming observation followed. As the object passed through areas with a denser solar wind, when cosmic radiation peaked, ground observatories tried to observe it simultaneously from different continents. The signals seemed to slightly change, not to break his pattern, but enough to suggest that he is aware of his surroundings. Some researchers quietly proposed a troubling hypothesis. What if this signal was not just being transmitted? What if it was also listening? If this is true, then Atlas was not just a stone emitting alien energy. It was a tool, an active participant in the surrounding space, sending and perhaps even receiving information in real time. The pulsation was no longer perceived as random background noise. It became something much more unsettling. The first potential evidence of a conversation happening right above our heads. A conversation in which we were not involved. A conversation that could have been going on long before we even started to listen. But as new data came in, one truth became impossible to ignore. Whatever the Atlas of Three Eyes was, it was not passive. It was doing something intentional, and humanity had just stumbled upon its signal, as if eavesdropping on a conversation not meant for them. And then it happened. The moment that sent shockwaves through every observatory on Earth. In less than 2 minutes, the Atlas of the Three Eyes exploded in a bright flash of light. Its brightness increased by almost 40% in such a sharp, unnatural surge that it could not be explained by any known cometary process. Natural gas emissions cause gradual changes, not explosive bursts of perfect symmetry. It was not a chaotic flicker of ice sublimating in the sun. It was precise, almost surgical, as if some hidden mechanism deep within the object had just activated. The thermal instruments of the James Webb Telescope detected a simultaneous change in thermal signal, as if the entire body of the object was activated for a moment. Its temperature rose, as if the machine was heating up. Scientists described it as observing a stone that suddenly breathed. The synchronicity was ominous, almost theatrical. The flash occurred precisely when the object crossed a certain threshold in the solar system, as if responding to an invisible trigger. Panic and awe reigned in the scientific community. This was not just a simple inert mass of interstellar rock, not merely a relic of a distant star system aimlessly wandering in our surroundings. Something inside this object chose this moment to reveal itself, or perhaps to test something. The idea that we could provoke this reaction just by observing, sending radio signals, and directing attention to it quickly spread. Is it not signaling back? Is it not exploring us? Or is it just a way to say, we see you too? The flash did not last long. As suddenly as it began, it faded, leaving behind a quieter and more stable glow. But something fundamental had changed. The energy profile was no longer the same. Whatever happened to the object in those minutes, it had become a little different. His thermal signature remained elevated, as if some dormant system had been awakened and was now operating in the background. Humanity no longer viewed the soulless traveler from the stars. We were looking at something alive with intent, something that had just turned its gaze towards us. A few days after the flare, astronomers began to notice something that turned light concern into global excitement. The object Three Eyes was no longer where it was supposed to be. His predicted orbit, carefully calculated using Newtonian mechanics and refined through AI-based simulations, began to deviate from expectations. At first by fractions of a degree, then by measurable distances, too precise to be attributed to random error. The object changed its course slightly, but undeniably, getting closer to Earth's orbital plane, aligning with the trajectories of the inner planets, as if correcting its navigation. Objects of this type, comets or asteroids, even interstellar visitors like Oumuamua, are subject to the influence of gravity and radiation pressure. They cannot decide when to move. Yet, Three Eyes seem just like that. Observers tried to explain the shift. Perhaps a gas burst pushed it. Maybe we underestimated its mass, but nothing matched the data. The change was too clean, too deliberate, like a spaceship making a course adjustment. Even more alarming was the fact that this change did not seem random. It appeared to guide itself to a position that would ensure a closer passage not only by the Sun, but also by us. Analysts noticed that the new trajectory now passed just inside Earth's orbital neighborhood. Almost a collision, not close enough to activate planetary defense protocols, but too close to ignore. Speculation grew dark. Is he maneuvering for a flyby visit, inspection, or meeting? The possibility that this object was not just active but also conscious began to dominate discussions among scientists. And perhaps the most alarming of all, the timing of the trajectory change was precise. This happened just a few hours after the outbreak, as if one event triggered another. What awakened inside the three-eye atlases was far from inactive. It saw something, calculated something, and then changed its course with terrifying precision. Humanity faced the frightening possibility that something in deep space not only noticed us, but was intentionally approaching. As the object drew nearer, the spectroscopic instruments of the Hubble and James Webb telescopes began to depict an even stranger picture. Its surface was not just shiny. It contained highly reflective alloys and rare Earth elements. The most shocking thing was that the spectral absorption lines did not match any of the known formulas of the periodic table. These were not traces of ice or stone. These were the imprints of something artificial, or at least synthesized, under conditions that humanity could never reproduce. One of the connections corresponded to a theoretical quantum material, believed to exist only under extreme magnetic compression. If this is true, then this object was either incredibly ancient, a relic of a civilization that predates human history, or a recent creation of a mind far superior to ours. As evidence accumulated, fear grew, governments locked down, encryption levels increased, and observatory data was hidden behind secret protections. But one group refused to wait. The SETI Institute decided to do what no one else dared. They transmitted a focused radio wave impulse directly to the three-eyed atlases, a cosmic handshake. The message contained universal mathematical constants, the periodic table, and simple diagrams of humanity. It was a cautious greeting, a question thrown into the void. Several days passed without a response. On the third day, one of the SETI monitoring stations in Chile received a reply pulse, a narrowband signal, distorted but clearly delivered exactly 72 hours after transmission. It was not an echo, nor a random scattering. It was a processed message sent back.